Relative clause.
Relative clause.
Relatively.
Relatively.
The system is relatively easy to use.
E-commerce is a relatively recent phenomenon.
Relatively speaking, land prices are still pretty cheap here.
Relative pronoun.
Relative pronoun.
Relativism.
Relativism.
Relativity.
Relativity.
Relaunch.
Relaunch.
The product is being relaunched with a new name.
Relax.
Relax.
I just want to sit down and relax.
What Robin needed was a drink to relax her.
A hot bath should help to relax you. Once out of danger, he started to relax.
Relax. Everything's fine.
Gentle exercise can relax stiff shoulder muscles.
Hughes believes that immigration control should not be relaxed.
He relaxed his grip on my arm.
The party has no intention of relaxing its hold on the country.
Relaxation.
Relaxation.
I play the piano for relaxation.
Meditation allows you to enter a state of deep relaxation.
A relaxation of government regulations.
Relaxed.
Relaxed.
Gail was lying in the sun, looking very relaxed and happy.
I feel more relaxed about my career than I used to.
There's a very relaxed atmosphere in the school.
She has a fairly relaxed approach to housework.
Relaxing.
Relaxing.
A relaxing evening at home.
Relay.
Relay.
The 100 metres relay.
He quickly relayed this news to the other members of staff.
The broadcasts were relayed by satellite.
The carpet will have to be relayed.
Relay race.
Relay race.
Release.
Release.
Police arrested several men who were later released.
The bears are eventually released into the wild. He was released from the hospital yesterday. The new trade figures have just been released.
A version of the game for Mac computers will be released in February. Thousands of bombs were released over Dresden.
The sudden noise made him release his hold on her arm.
Physical exercise is a good way of releasing stress.
Oil was released into the sea.
Because of rising costs, the company released 10% of their workforce.
Williams asked to be released from her contract.
Release the handbrake first.
Before release, the Sea Lions are fitted with electronic tracking devices.
Simon has obtained early release from prison.
The band's latest release. The film is on general release.
Playing an instrument can be a form of emotional release. Playing an instrument can be a form of emotional release. Treatment that will bring a release from pain.
The release of toxic waste into the rivers.
October 22nd is the date set for the report's release.
Relegate.
Relegate.
Women tended to be relegated to typing and filing jobs.
We were relegated to the 4th Division last year. Relent.
Relent.
At last her father relented and came to visit her.
Relentless.
Relentless.
Her relentless determination to succeed.
A regime that was relentless in its persecution of dissidents.
The relentless crying of a small baby.
A family facing relentless financial problems.
He questioned her relentlessly.
Relevance.
Relevance.
He didn't realize the relevance of what he had seen. They have no relevance to the story. This book will be of particular relevance to chemists.
Relevant.
Relevant.
Relevant documents were presented in court.
We received all the relevant information. What experience do you have that is relevant to this position?
Reliable.
Reliable.
A birth control method that is cheap and reliable.
Miller was a quiet and reliable man.
Reliance.
Reliance.
The country's reliance on imported oil.
The country's heavy reliance on trade.
Reliant.
Reliant.
Most companies are now reliant on computer technology.
Relic.
Relic.
Roman relics found in a field.
The books and photos, relics of Rob's university days.
Everything in the house seemed old and untouched, like relics of an ancient time.
Relief.
Relief.
I felt a huge surge of relief and happiness.
He watched with relief as the girl nodded.
He laughed in relief.
No one was hurt and we all breathed a sigh of relief.
I hate to say it, but it was a relief to have him out of the house.
To my relief, they spoke English.
The doctor said it was just the flu. What a relief.
The relief of suffering.
Marijuana can provide pain relief for some cancer patients.
The cool room provided relief from the terrible heat outdoors.
Money raised for the relief effort.
Famine relief for victims of the drought.
The relief for the military guard.
A relief driver.
Figures carved in relief.
The trees stood out in stark relief against the snow.
The article throws into sharp relief the differences between the two theories.
A moment of comic relief.
Families on relief during the Depression.
The relief of Mafeking.
Relief map. Relief map. Relief road.
Relief road.
An eastern relief road for city traffic. Relieve.
Relieve.
Drugs help to relieve the pain.
Some people eat for comfort, to relieve their anxieties.
Programs aimed at relieving unemployment.
The guard will be relieved at midnight.
A plain wall relieved by flecks of blue and yellow.
The books helped relieve the boredom of waiting.
A secretary was hired to relieve her of some of the administrative work. He rose and relieved her of her bags.
After the defeat, General Meyer was relieved of his command.
A couple of guys relieved him of his wallet.
Relieved. Relieved.
She looked immensely relieved when she heard the news.
His mother was relieved to see him happy again.
I felt relieved that Ben would be there.
A relieved smile spread over his face.
Relieved.
Religion.
Religion.
The U.S. Constitution promises freedom of religion.
A course on philosophy and religion.
People of different religions.
The Islamic religion. The tribe practiced a religion that mixed native beliefs and Christianity.
Miller found religion in prison.
Football was a religion in my family.
Religious.
Religious.
I don't share her religious beliefs. A religious school.
The dates of major religious observances, such as Easter or Christmas.
A deeply religious person.
Religiously.
Religiously.
He exercises religiously every morning. A religiously diverse country.
Religious right. Religious right.
Relinquish.
Relinquish.
No one wants to relinquish power once they have it.
Stoltz relinquished control to his subordinate.
Reliquary.
Reliquary.
Relish.
Relish.
I don't relish the thought of you walking home alone.
He relishes the chance to play Hamlet. I ate with great relish, enjoying every bite.
A hot dog with mustard and relish.
Relive.
Relive.
The girls watched the tape, eager to relive their victory against UCLA.
Reload. Reload.
Relocate.
Relocate.
A lot of firms are relocating to the north of England.
Businesses that relocate in depressed areas. The residents were relocated to temporary accommodation while the work was being done. Reluctance.
Reluctance.
Wells finally agreed, but with reluctance.
A reluctance to share information.
Reluctant.
She gave a reluctant smile.
Maddox was reluctant to talk about it.
Reluctantly, he agreed.
Rely.
Rely.
I knew I could rely on David.
Many working women rely on relatives to help take care of their children.
Many people now rely on the internet for news.
The company relies heavily on only a few contracts.
They have to rely on the river for their water.
Remain.
Remain.
Please remain seated until all the lights are on.
We remained friends.
The boy remained silent.
Despite the job losses, Parker remained as manager.
Many scientists remain unconvinced by the current evidence. She was too ill to remain at home.
The refugees were allowed to remain in the UK.
Little of the original building remains.
The score is tied with 15 minutes remaining.
What remains of his original art collection is now in the City Museum.
Several points remain to be settled. There remained a few jobs still to be finished.
The fact remains that racism is still a considerable problem.
It remains to be seen whether the operation was successful.
Remainder.
Remainder.
The remainder must be paid by the end of June.
He spent the remainder of his police career behind a desk.
15 divided by 4 gives you a remainder of 3.
Remaining.
Remaining.
The few remaining guests were in the kitchen.
Add the remaining ingredients and simmer for 30 minutes.
The only remaining question is whether we can raise the money.
Remains.
Remains.
On the table were the remains of the evening meal. Extensive Roman remains at Arles. Her remains are buried in Westminster. Remake.
Remake.
A remake of Cape Fear.
It was remade as a musical. She remade her wedding dress to fit her daughter.
Remand.
Remand.
Smith was remanded in custody until Tuesday.
He's been remanded on bail for a month.
The court remanded the case for trial.
Evans committed suicide while on remand in Parkhurst Prison.
Remand prisoners.
Remand Centre.
Remand center.
Remand home.
Remand home.
Remark.
Remark.
Unfortunately, a local journalist overheard the remark.
The chairman's introductory remarks.
Caldwell in his remarks emphasized the need for cooperation.
This house must be very old, he remarked.
Anderson left the table, remarking that he had some work to do. He remarked on the difference in security measures at the two airports.
Remarkable.
Remarkable.
She has made remarkable progress.
A remarkable coincidence.
It's a remarkable achievement for the company.
It is remarkable that women did not have the vote until that time.
His drawings are remarkable for their accuracy.
He's a remarkable man.
Remarkably.
Remarkably.
She plays the violin remarkably well.
Remarkably, all of the passengers survived the crash.
Remarry.
Remarry.
Widowed in 1949, Mrs. Hayes never remarried.
Remaster.
Remaster.
An album with 15 digitally remastered songs.
Rematch.
Rematch.
Both teams are preparing for the rematch.
Remediable.
Remediable.
Remediable problems.
Remedial.
Remedial.
Some remedial work needs to be done on the foundations.
Remedial mental health therapies.
Remedy.
Remedy.
The problems in our schools do not have a simple remedy.
The program is one remedy for discrimination.
A remedy for colds.
A natural remedy that helps insomnia.
A home remedy for sore throats. The herb is used as a folk remedy for a baby's teething pains.
She felt as if her marital problems were beyond remedy.
To remedy the situation, the water must be chemically treated.
Remember.
Remember.
Do you remember Rosa Davies?
I can't remember her exact words.
I remember you two couldn't stand each other at first.
I remember meeting her at a party once.
I remember my father bringing home a huge Christmas tree.
I remember it well. I'd never seen my mother so angry. She clearly remembers the excitement as they boarded the train.
I vaguely remember reading something about it in the paper.
They had 3 children, if I remember rightly.
They've lived here for as long as I can remember.
No one got drunk as far as I can remember.
You left your keys on the table, remember?
I can't remember her phone number.
I suddenly remembered that I'd left the stove on.
I called the office, but I don't remember who I spoke to.
I hope he remembers the wine.
Remember to take your PE clothes to school.
Remember, processed food is usually full of salt and sugar.
Remember that not everyone has as much money as you. It should be remembered that a lot of work went into this event.
On this day we remember the dead of 2 world wars.
He is best remembered for his travel books.
Johnson wanted to be remembered as the education president.
Lillian always remembers me at Christmas.
Remembrance.
Remembrance.
A service in remembrance of those killed in the war.
A Holocaust remembrance.
Trillin's remembrances of his childhood.
Remembrance Day.
Remembrance Day.
Remind.
Remind.
Yes, I'll be there. Thanks for reminding me.
The girls constantly had to be reminded about their chores. Remind me to buy some milk tonight.
Mrs. Welland reminded her son that they still had several people to see. Oh, that reminds me. I saw Jenny in town today.
I reminded myself to watch them closely.
He made a few notes to remind himself of what he wanted to say.
That song always reminds me of our first date. I was reminded how lucky I was.
We've got a test tomorrow. Don't remind me.
Let me remind you that you are expected to arrive on time.
The landscape reminded her of Scotland.
Corin reminds me of myself when I was her age.
Reminder.
Reminder.
A reminder of the dangers of drinking and driving.
Occasional bursts of gunfire are a reminder that the rebels are still active. The damaged church was preserved as a stark reminder of the horrors of war.
The drop in stock prices serves as a reminder that investing is a form of gambling.
A reminder from the dentist for your checkup.
Reminisce.
Reminisce.
A group of former students reminiscing about their college days.
Reminiscence.
Reminiscence.
Reminiscences of the war.
Reminiscent.
Reminiscent.
A style strongly reminiscent of Virginia Woolf's novels.
Her face wore a reminiscent smile.
Remiss.
Remiss.
Parents who are remiss in their duties.
It was remiss of the social services not to notify the police.
Remission.
Remission.
The chemotherapy was successful, and she is now in remission.
The cancer has gone into remission.
He was given 6 months remission for good behaviour.
Remission of debts.
Remit. Remit.
Please remit payment by cheque.
The court remitted the matter to the agency for reconsideration.
The remit of a senior member of staff. Marketing is outside our remit. Remittance.
Remittance.
We will forward the goods on remittance of £10.
Remix.
Remix.
A disco remix.
Remnant.
Remnant.
The remnants of a meal stood on the table.
Remodel.
Remodel.
The airport terminals have been extensively remodelled.
Remold. Remold.
Remonstrance.
Remonstrance.
Angry remonstrances.
Remonstrate.
Remonstrate.
The Everton manager remonstrated angrily with the referee.
Remorse.
Remorse.
Throughout the trial he had shown no remorse.
She felt a pang of remorse for what she had done.
Filled with remorse, Dylan decided to resign.
Remorseless.
Remorseless.
The remorseless winter wins.
A remorseless murderer.
Remortgage.
Remortgage.
We may have to remortgage the house.
Remote.
Remote.
A remote border town.
A fire in a remote mountain area.
There's a remote chance that you can catch him before he leaves.
The prospect of peace seems remote.
The remote time when dinosaurs walked the earth.
The Heights was quiet and clean, and remote from the busy daily life of the city.
His father was a remote, quiet man.
He hasn't the remotest interest in sport.
I haven't the remotest idea what you mean. Give me the remote.
Remote access.
Remote access.
Remote control.
Remote control.
A missile guided by remote control.
Remote interrogation.
Remote interrogation.
Remotely.
Remotely.
The brew tasted only remotely of beer. There was nothing remotely new in this idea.
Remotely operated vehicles.
Remote sensing.
Remote sensing.
Remote working.
Remote working.
Remold.
Remold.
Mergers have forced organizations to remold themselves.
Remount.
Remold.
Remold. Remount.
Remount.
Removable.
Removable.
A sofa with removable cloth covers.
Removal.
Removal.
The removal of rubbish.
Stain removal.
The mayor's removal from office.
The removal men have been in and out all day.
Removal van.
Removal van.
Remove.
Remove.
Remove the old wallpaper and fill any holes in the walls.
Reference books may not be removed from the library.
A cleaner that will remove wine stains.
The college removed rules that prevented women from enrolling.
Congress could remove the president from office.
He removed his hat and gloves.
The events in the newspaper article were far removed from reality.
The X-ray operator works at a safe remove in a separate room.
Remover.
Remover.
REM sleep.
REM sleep.
Remuneration.
Remuneration.
High rates of remuneration.
Remunerative.
Remunerative.
Renaissance.
Renaissance. Renaissance.
Renaissance. Renaissance.
Renaissance.
A renaissance in wood carving over the last few years.
Renaissance man.
Renaissance man.